continue to follow what's trending, and the politics is trending, and it's getting, it's getting mighty, because we really are finding out, who you with. We're really finding out whose side are you on, because as American citizens, we're not falling for the okie doke. And we got to understand that Trump news is the news that we got to understand and break down and figure out, because there's oppositions on the other side that's literally anti-government or anti-American, anti-Republican. So we're going to really have this conversation. We're going to talk today because there are some trending topics that's out. And yesterday, the House passed the GOP budget. And I got a little clip that I'm going to show you. And I'm going to bring you some receipts to make sure we're on the same sheet of music and we truly understand, because knowledge is power. We can't rely on politicians. We can't rely on media. And we have to rely on our own intelligence. And this is we are who we are. And this is why we got to do what we got to do to make sure that we're not hoodwinked, bamboozled, and led astray. But before I get started, I got to go with the trending topic of today. And we're on Trump news. We're going to talk about the budget proposal. But I want to show you how the mainstream media spins things. And then we're going to get to the Trump news, which was the budget proposal. And I got two videos that I'm going to show, and I'm going to react from those videos. The number one trending topic of today in the realm of entertainment. And this is crazy. Gene Hackman, okay, the actor, Gene Hackman, okay, was actually, him and his wife were found dead in their New Mexico home. This is the number one trending topic today. And then I'm going to get to the Trump news. But I had to speak on this because entertainment, sports, politics is money is the thing. But the news cycle controls the politics. Because the craziest thing about it that I saw about Gene Hackman, I'll get to the Trump news, is that he was found dead home in New Mexico. I'm watching the news. So the news came out and said Gene Hackman was found dead along with his wife and his dog. And then they put right there in plain sight. And the news reporter that works for one of the major outlets says the police said that there was no foul play involved. Number one, how can you say that there's no foul play involved out the gate without an autopsy, without an investigation? But this is how the politics has bled over to mainstream media, because Gene Hackman, his wife, and the dog. Now, this is not a situation where the wife called and said, I found my husband, dead or unalive. Or this is not a situation where the dog. This is a situation where the wife, Gene Hackman, and the dog, and the news outlets and mainstream media saying the police said that there is no foul play. Come on, man. That's crazy. There's no way, no how that this can actually make sense. And this is why we have to deal with the politics. And this is why we switched gears. We've called an audible. We learned to turn, because we really got to find out what's really going on. So rest in peace, Gene Hackman, and your death will not go in vain, because there's another brother from Los Angeles, California, who actually was unalive, and the autopsy report did not come out until months after the death, and they didn't really talk about it. But that's another day. But we're going to get into the Trump news today. Now, the Trump administration, they just recently a budget, okay? And our dear Maxine Waters, okay, the opposition, which is very hurtful, okay? She pretty much went on the House floor, and this was her actual response to what's going on. And I got to turn the TV up. Hold on one sec. And Maxine Waters went on the House floor, and she basically, just aligned herself as the opposition. So God's people shall not perish due to the lack of knowledge. So we're really going to have this. We're going to have this conversation. And We're going to basically, I'm going to show this clip and I'm going to basically give some context about it. And then I got another clip to basically show you what time it is because, tax breaks, we need to understand that. When you hear politicians talk about, oh, we have to tax the rich and we have to do this and we have to do that. The individuals talking about are individuals that invest in their campaigns. So this is just a dirty game that we've been dealing with. And we don't have to, just word at it. And somebody put in the comments, why do you follow the Bible rather than other holy? Okay, well, that's another conversation. So hit the like, hit the notification, and, I'm going to jump on and we'll be able to have these conversations. But today we got to really understand what's really going on. So this is Maxine Waters. I'm going to show this clip, and then I got another clip to follow up to basically prove my whole point. OK, and this is the budget proposal. Check this out.
Speaker, I strongly oppose the Republican budget ripoff.
She called it Republican budget ripoff. Number one.
I hear constituents every day about the high cost of living. Under the Trump administration, healthcare costs are rising.
Hold up. Under the Trump administration, he hasn't even been in office for over 30 days. It's basically just a month. And she's blaming him for healthcare costs when the Democrats has been in power for the last 4 years.
And putting food on the table is getting harder as egg prices skyrocket and housing remains unaffordable. Unfortunately, the Republican
the Republican ripoff. You see these talking points? See how disrespectful that is? And it's why Republicans, when they respond, they're responding because every action gets a reaction.
Is a slap in the face to working families. Elon Musk and House Republicans are asking us to support axing medic.
Isn't it sad that this 84-year-old woman cannot be living her best life? She's out here forced slave worker to pretty much go out and be a slave and basically speak for the individuals that fund her campaign.
Paid by 180. Republicans will cut this program.
On the food stamp, let's cut it. Just fix it. We don't need no food
stamps. Reduce
stamps. Let's go.
By $230 billion.
Republicans
are defunding the police by stripping funding from the.
Hold up. The Democrats, you see how the bait and switch, how they will use a elderly black woman to basically go up there and read a script. You see the script that she's reading? That's a script. OK, she didn't write that. OK, her slave masters wrote that. We're going to call it what it is because the Democratic Party is the party of slavery. It always was and always will be. So now in 2025, we're going to tell the truth and shame the devil. Look at this elderly woman reading this script. Who wrote it?
Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and the CFPB is the only federal cop on the block to hold Wall Street banks and big tech payment apps accountable when they cheat Americans.
Hold up. When they cheat America. Oh, I mean, I know we all have not been under a rock, but it seems like the Democrats has been running the biggest scam known to man. And I got a video to follow up to confirm what I'm saying.
It is shameful that while families suffer from high prices, Musk is firing thousands of federal workers.
Firing
and
ass.
Stealing sensitive data from his competitors.
Hold up. Stealing sensitive data from his competitors. I mean, what is she talking about? This is crazy. You have a elderly woman forced as a slave. OK, she's a slave. OK, she lives in a house with Massa. Massa says, get your black old self out there and read the script and you do what you're told. This woman is in her 80s, should be living her best life right now, celebrating a long career in politics. But looks like, she going to go down with the ship.
Although this ripoff cuts $2 trillion in vital programs. And what do Republicans plan to do with this money? Oh, they're going to give it. They're going to give it to the billionaires.
Hold up. Elon Musk came out, Forbes magazine came out and said that they found so much wasteful spending that they're considering sending a stimulus check of $5,000 to American. And when she talks about and demonize these rich people, how do you think Republicans or Democrats get in office. The people that she's talking about are the people that gave her that script because they're wrong side of history. The Trump administration is in office right now. So they're getting the slaves, the housemaidens, the bedwench and concubines to get out there and do what they're told. And this is what she's doing. Look, she's reading a script. Think about it.
In this country, $4.5 trillion in tax cuts.
Where was that energy before? 4.5 trillion in tax cuts. The government is too big running.
If that math doesn't compute, it's because they expect Americans to buy.
You see how she's reading? Okay.
The next mega yacht for Jeff Bezos.
Hold on. Next mega yacht for Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos is a Democrat. Think about that. Jeff Bezos behind Google was behind the Black Lives Matter. He was with Biden. And basically they jumped ship with Harris. What is she talking about? Why is this elderly lady forced to get on television, forced to go to the House and pretty much read this rhetoric? Why is that? Because like I said, when you're a Democrat, you are a slave because the Democratic Party is the party of slavery. It's not even debatable. It's a fact.
Well, I tell you, we're not going to do that.
Look, we're not going to do that. And okay, because when you write your own speech, your own script, you basically flow. It's like she's reading something she was just handed before she went on the House floor. It's crazy.
Today, we're no. Democrats are no on.
We're no. What did it say? No. Democrats are no. Check this out.
They expect millions to.
They respect, I guess it's millions of Americans. She said they respect America. Check it out. They expect mirrors.
It's because they expect Americans to buy the next.
Look, Americans to buy. Come on now, Maxine. It's time to let it. Okay. Now that we understand how the politics work, it's not the politicians, it's the people. These are the people that is blocking the blessings of all American citizens. We should be coming together, united, action under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For Jeff Bezos. Well, I tell you, we're not going to do that. And we want to tell you today, we're no. Democrats are no on this budget. It is outrageous that you all have the audacity to come here with this budget that harms so many Americans.
It don't harm nobody.
And ask us to support billionaires and think we're going to buy it?
Hold up. Every Democratic elected official supports billionaires because every elected official got billionaire donors that got them in office. This is hypocrisy, and we have to call it out. And I hope the message get to them because they think that they're playing, that the joke's on us. Sometimes shame on me. First time, shame on me. Second time, shame on you. Shame on you Democrats who are selling this pot of BS to the American people because your democracy has expired and it's over.
You think we're going to support it? Well, you got another thought coming. We ain't doing it.
Look, come on, man. This is an 83-year-old woman.
And think we're going to buy it?
Look at it.
You think we're going to support it? Well, you got another thought coming. We ain't doing it.
And then you have dumb, ignorant blacks in the community that respects that. That's stupid. All right. So I must play Ronald Reagan back on Johnny Carson back in, I believe it was 19. Well, okay, they'll tell us what it is. But look what Ronald Reagan said about the government. He's basically what Trump is doing right now is what Ronald Reagan was explaining to us back in the 80s. So just check this out and then I'll give some commentary. Check this out.
When you and I were boys back in the Midwest, right?
Okay, and this is 1975 on the Johnny Carson show, and this was when he was the governor of California. Check it out.
Governments, federal, state, and local, were only taking about 15 cents out of every dollar earned. Today, they're taking almost half of every dollar earned in the United States. And most people don't realize it because the politician that stands up and yells, oh, let's save the little man, let's tax business. And everybody.
Hold up. Isn't that what Maxine Waters just said? Let's save the little man and billionaires.
Everybody else array. But they haven't figured out that every tax business is just a part of the cost of production.
Every tax on business is just a part of the tax on production. Let's go.
And the customer winds up paying it when he buys the product. It's a hidden sales tax.
A hidden sale tax. It hits us. So you wonder why eggs are so expensive. You wonder why everything's so expensive. You wonder why inflation is at an all-time high. Break it down, Mr. Reagan.
There's 116 of them in the suit of clothes that each one of us is wearing.
So a lot of economists have suggested, and I know they'll never come to be in this country, if they closed all of the
Listen to this.
loopholes and corporate maybe tax loopholes and even on the rich certain loopholes and made a percentage income and made a flat fee without all of the deductions, that the government might raise as much money out.
Oh, sure. And really, the loopholes, this has been overdone by the politicians too.
Check this out. The loopholes. Check this out.
The bulk of the money that is taken by what are called loopholes are the legitimate deductions with which, if the people didn't have them, they couldn't pay income tax. Interest on their mortgage, interest on the installments on their car, their property taxes on their home if they have one, and so forth. These are, in politicians' eyes, loopholes. But we ought to have tax. We ought to start by making it so simple that you don't have to.
Okay. In 1975, he said we have tax reform. And this is 1975. And look how far it's gotten because of the opposition of the Democratic Party. Anytime there needs to be some tax reform, the Democrats stands up and block it because this is the scam they've been running for over 100 years.
Hire a lawyer
Since the Civil War.
to find out how much you owe every year.
That's for sure. It used to be a little...
Now, I want y'all to hear what he just
We ought to
said.
start by making it so simple that you don't have to hire a lawyer to find out how much you owe every year.
That's for sure. It used to be a little simple.
He said, make it simple so you don't have to hire a lawyer to find out how much you owe. Come on, man. Let's keep it simple.
Johnny, we live in the only country in the world where it takes more brains to figure out your income tax than it does to earn the income.
You're right.
That's real. He said we're the only country that takes more brains to figure out how much you owe than any other country. That's crazy.
The habit over the last 40 years of thinking that government has the answers. There's very little that government can do as efficiently and as economically as the people can do themselves. And if government would just sneak away for about 3 weeks, we'd never miss
We'd
it.
never miss them.
Our biggest problem is we have built a permanent structure of government.
Check it out.
Federal, state, and local. The permanent employees, and they've come to the place that they actually determine policy more than does the Congress of the United States.
Bam.
There are 14.5 million public employees in the United States. That's quite a voting bloc. And the bureaus and agencies, now in Washington, I heard you talking earlier about some of the research programs. What would you say if I told you about a study in which it's called the demography of happiness? And in this study, the government found out that young people are happier than old people.
And we just proved that. We just watched an elderly woman in Maxine Waters, basically angry, mad at a system that's been broken forever that needs to be reformed. So this is why we, the people, need to figure this thing out and stop focusing on Republicans and Democrats and focus on resolutions and create a utopia in this country that we all dwell in.
They found out that people that earn more are happier than people that earn less.
People earn more are happier than the people that earn less. So why not rise the tide and everybody earns more?
And they found out that well people are happier.
That's good.
This was $249,000 to find out it's better to be rich, young, and healthy than old, poor, and sick. A poll was taken recently that found out that only 40% of the people in the poll could name their United States congressman.
Wow. And this was back in
What
1975.
was worse, 86% of those who could name him couldn't tell you a single thing that he represented or stood for.
Wow. Now, could you tell Maxine Waters represents or stand for? I don't know, to be honest. All I know is just they getting that bread. They getting the money.
Just knew that he represented
Yeah, he was a congressman, but what's he doing while he's up there? And the same is true at the local levels and all the rest. But
So you're saying people really have to take an active interest, and you have to have citizen action groups locally and
let them know.
Okay, and I'm gonna stop it right there. And basically, what he's saying is people have to take a active interest of what's really going on, and this is what we're doing here. Okay, we're taking active interest. So when you get these politicians that talks about we need to tax the rich, okay, clearly without a shadow of a doubt, when you're the rich and the rich don't get loopholes, the people have to deal with that. And this is why we're dealing with inflation right now. Now, the trickle down effect, basically explain is that when you give tax breaks and loopholes to the rich and wealthy, that somehow it trickles down to the American people. Because when you have extra expenditures or extra money, or your budget is running over, you hire more people, you produce more, and somehow that goes to the American people, because it's called the trickle down effect. So when you start taxing the rich, taxing the wealthy, and not giving loopholes to the corporations and businesses, what do? They lay off the employees. Think about it. Just like what was on with Doge, they're laying off a lot of people because they're pretty much cutting the budget, meaning we don't have money to pay you. We'll give you, not a stimulus, but a retirement plan. We'll give you, some cash. But at the end of the day, we got to stop the bleeding. And I hear people argue and debate from both sides. Oh, that they're not doing anything. What they're doing is the bleeding. They have found and frozen trillions of dollars to give them a budget. So now they could go back and figure out what's needed and make this thing happen. It is what it is. So when you have American citizens, trying to come together and work together as one, because I'm going to let you know what my job is as a black man. My black job is to bridge the gap socially and economically to end racism. Because number one, there's only one race, that's the human race. But until there's a social economic shift or a wealth change, it's always going to be the haves and the have-nots. And it doesn't even matter, because the haves and the have-nots, Republican and Democratic. Because I just showed a video about Maxine Waters having to go on record and having to go to the House floor to do what she's told. That woman should be living her best life. Love Maxine Waters. I love her career, but it's pretty much not doing anything to people. OK, things are out of control right now, and we need to make sense of it. So when you look at the truth of the tax breaks and the loopholes, you have poor people really not understanding how this thing works. When somebody's rich or somebody's wealthy, they don't pay taxes in the sense of earned income, because what do? They'll put $1 or $0, because they don't have an earned income. They're rich and they're wealthy, meaning when you're wealthy, your money works for you and you don't work for your money. It's the other way around. So it's time for this trickle down effect to affect all people, because trees grow from the bottom up. So if the tree grows and you're at the top of the tree and it grows, the rich got richer, but the poor is not in the position that they started from. But somehow, some way, they keep the poor at the bottom and just give them rations and control them, through bureaucracy, and make people seem or feel as though they're looking out for them. But it's not. So we got to figure this thing out. When we as American citizens, what do we want? OK, we need in terms of tax reform. OK, but notice, because whatever's going on has been payroll taxes, meaning if you have a job, and this is a solution that we're going to have to lobby our congressional, representation, because if we cut payroll taxes, that means anybody that has a 9-to-5 or a payroll income job is actually going to get a 20% raise. And I don't believe anybody has a problem with that. But never in my lifetime have I seen anybody that's an elected official talk about a solution. I've never seen that. But Trump basically on the campaign trail said no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security. OK, right now they're finding that the Social Security Department of Social Security is pro. You have 1.9 million people over the age of 120 receiving Social Security benefits. So that's something that we got to figure out. Okay, no tax on tips. Go to a restaurant, tip your waiter or waitress, and basically say, what are you going to do with the money? They put that in their pocket. They don't even have to document it anymore. So it's actually working. And I've done it on 3 different occasions, because when I do a study, I got to at least have 3 examples. So I went to breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I tipped the waitress and I basically asked them the rule. And they said, basically, since Trump has been in office, we pretty much don't have to document. So they're not getting taxed on their tips. Okay. Now, no tax on overtime is something that we're going to have to lobby our elected officials to push and pass through Congress, or bypass them and somehow sit with the Trump administration or his cabinet members, or